Today in Capeggi's Corner, we're going to look at box and whisker plots. In looking at a box and whisker plot, it's a way to display data that organizes the values into 4 different groups. So in identifying the box and whisker, we have what we call our box is the box in the center, and then we call these whiskers coming out here to the left. So that's how we get those names. In identifying the parts of our box and whisker plot, our lower extreme is the lowest value, so that appears right there. Our upper extreme is our greatest value, which is right there. Our median is our middle number, so we're going to put our values in numerical order like we have in the past, and the middle number is our median. That's the center line in this box right here. Our lower quartile is the median, or the middle of the lower half of the values. So we're going to take all values from the lower extreme up to the median, but not including the median. Then we're going to find the middle number of those values, and that's where we get the lower quartile. That's where we get the left-hand side of the box. The right-hand side of the box is on the opposite side. We're going to take the median of the upper half of the values. So we're going to take all the values from the median all the way to the upper extreme, and we're going to find the middle number. That number is our upper quartile, and that's the other part of our box. Now our interquartile range is our upper quartile value minus our lower quartile value. So it's the range right here in between the upper and lower quartile. So when we said the box and whisker displays the data in 4 different groups, we're breaking it up in 4 chunks of 25%. So remember, the median is the middle number, so that means we have 50% above and 50% below. So when we break that down, we said the lower quartile is the middle number of our lower values. So that means this piece right here is 25%. And we also have 25% here between our lower quartile and our median, which makes sense because we said our median is the middle of our values, so we should have 50% above and 50% below. Let's look on the right-hand side of that. So although it's tight, we do have 25% between the median and the upper quartile, and then we have another 25% between our upper quartile and our upper extreme. So together, that whole box and whisker makes up 100%. Now the other part that's important is our interquartile range, just the box, is made up of 50%. So 25% between the lower quartile and the median, and 25% between the median and the upper quartile. Now we're going to practice drawing a box and whisker for the given data. So our numbers are already in order, so we need to identify all the pieces. So first we're going to look at the median. We have 8 values, so it's an even number. So I need to find the average of 18 and 23, which is 20.5. So that's my median. So let me write that down. So it's 20.5 down here. And then now I realize also that my lower extreme is 8. And my upper extreme is going to be 30, so that's going to be my whiskers. And my lower quartile, so what I'm doing is I'm taking my middle values of my lower data for my lower quartile. So because my median is 20, I'm not using that. So I'm just going to go from 18 down to 8. And then my middle value right here, my median happens to be there. So I take the average of that, and that's 11.5. So that's my lower quartile. Do the same thing for my upper quartile. Go from 23 up to 30, and then I'm right in the middle here, which gives me 25.5. So that's my upper quartile. So now I have all my values. I can create my diagram. So let's first start with my median, which is 20.5. So obviously I'm going to estimate here. So there's my middle one. And then 11.5 is my lower quartile, so it's going to be right about here. And then I have 25.5 is my upper quartile, so I'm right about there. So now I'm going to create my box, so connect what I have. And now I need my extremes. So I have 8 is my lower extreme, so that becomes my whisker. And then 30 is my upper extreme, and that also is a whisker. Now we're going to use a box and whisker to analyze some data, and we have a multiple choice question. So it says, what statement about the box and whisker is not true? So again, we're going to look at all 4 choices, go one at a time. We are also saying it's not true, so I should have 3 true statements and 1 statement that's not true. So letter A said the median is 88.9. This is our median, it's our line inside our box, which is 88.9, so that one's true. Letter B says the lowest score is 71.4. Now 71.4, if that's our lowest score, that would be our lower extreme. However, it looks like 62.5 is our lower extreme, and that's false. That 71.4 does appear, but that's not our lowest score. That is our lowest quartile. Letter C says the upper quartile is 100.2, which is true. And our last one, D, the range is 55.3. So let's see if I take 117.8 minus 62.5, and I do get 55.3, so that's true. So our answer to this question is letter B. That's the only statement that's false. In our last question for today, we do have another box and whisker, and we have the graph that displays the paint sold per month at John's store in gallons. So it says, what is the interquartile range of gallons of paint sold at John's store? Now remember, our interquartile range is our upper quartile minus our lower quartile. So they're the part of the box. So my upper quartile here is here, and if I look between 60 and 7, looks like each of those tick marks are 2. So my upper quartile is 62. My lower quartile is right here, and that looks like that has a value of 46. So if I take 62 minus 46, I have 16. Now what about the percentage? What is the percentage of interquartile range? They don't ask that question, but it's really a good time to talk about it. The interquartile range, remember everything is broken up in 25. So we have 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, and 25 here. So our interquartile range takes up 50% of the data.